My name is Rick Reuter. I'm a continuous improvement manager at AGCO Corporation. So before I get into the lean journey we've had, I want to talk about AGCO a little bit, just to give you some background on what we are. So vision statement for AGCO, high-tech solutions for farmers feeding the world. So who is AGCO? Oop, I hit the black button. AGCO is a brand company. We own the Challenger brand, Fendt brand, GSI brand, Massey Ferguson brand, and the Vulture brand. Sold across the world. I'm based in North America. We have operations throughout the globe, Europe, everywhere. So I'm going to talk about how we implemented a wearable technology, Google Glass, on a platform called Proceedix in our warehouse, or in our assembly line. So there's Steve. He wears glass every day, and it guides him through step by step what he needs to do to build his tractor. The approach, a lean approach. Why did we pick the approach to be lean, not just, hey, let's do this? We have been a culture in the site in Jackson, Minnesota, and that if we have a problem, we find a solution. We do process mapping, we do analysis, we analyze the current state, we map the ideal state, and find any barriers that prevent us from getting out there. We're not here to find a new tool and then find a way to implement it. That's not our journey, and that's not what we've recognized as a way to work. It has been very successful taking this approach because it gets the assembler, Steve, buy-in on the tool because he's involved in this process. So what's my problem? I got this giant yellow tractor, 4 meters wide, 6, 7, 8 meters long, and it takes a long time for the employees to do the work. New employees especially. They have to go get information from a computer or wherever. Or if they've memorized the work because they've been here a long time, they are going to make a defect. They're going to skip some assembly instruction because there's some options. So we've learned through direct observation that they walk around this work cell gritting parts all the time, grabbing tools and doing the work, and we did a pretty good job keeping everything within a meter of what they do. But then when somebody new comes, they walk everywhere. So we thought, okay, this is not good. We can't do this. And we also observed that if these two people here are new or have been here for a while, they avoid the red lines. They try to build off a memory so they don't have to walk to that computer so they can reduce the waste of travel, but then they make a defect. And we've seen that that's the group that makes most of the defects. So my problem is no one tractor is the same. I've got this big giant one that articulates in the middle. I've got something with wheels, something with track, literally one after the other assembly line, different brands, all this stuff. We also have low volume sales. The site makes these high complex equipment with what could be up to an hour worth of work content in that work cell. So I can't just have everything be easily reachable. I have to put an hour's worth of parts and information by every person on that assembly line. 5 different tractor models, only 3 are listed here. And we've got options. So you can have auto guidance, your tractor can drive itself through the field. You can have deluxe seats, you can have high flow hydraulics, you can have everything imaginable as an option. There's no package groups. You can pick everything you want individually. We have another assembly line, very similar. We got sprayers with high wheels, we got sprayers with monster truck tires, we got other ones that spray fertilizer versus liquid chemicals. These things are technologically awesome. Same problem, all on the same assembly line. So we got this throughout both assembly lines in our facility. So we got to the point where we have this barrier of we have to present information to the employee. How are we going to go about doing that? So we brainstormed. Steve was in there, manufacturing engineering was in there, production supervisors were in there, line leads were in a room, and we all got together and came up with a list of ideas, and we thought, hey, let's just put some TVs up in that work cell. That'll work. So I threw up a picture of a guy sitting in front of a bunch of TVs. Well, our problem with that is I've got this assembler here in a work cell that's 6 meters long, wide and 10 meters long. I'm going to put his TV where? Here? And then he stands on this side and can't see it. So I buy him another TV and I put it over here. Well, now he's got to turn around all the time to see what he needs to do. So I put a third TV up here somewhere. So okay, that seemed to work. All right, we didn't actually do this, but we mocked it up. So I need 3 TVs for this guy, a computer, and some sort of a clicker that they have to wear with them and not lose. I'm investing, I don't know, $6,000 to make this happen or whatever. I got to wire these TVs everywhere and run cabling, and I got to do the same thing for this guy. So now I've got 6 TVs, probably 8 TVs around here. It's starting to look like a sports bar where I've got TVs everywhere and they're all watching their own game and they're all changing and clicking and trying to interact with this thing. And that was a really big struggle. So we said, well, that's not going to work. Let's just do tablets. Yep, we tried that. They break. You drop them, you set them down, and you lose them. So we tried hard. We tried harder with tablets. Like, okay, this can't be. We got to figure out a way for this not to happen. We get the rugged ones. We try everything to prevent them from breaking, and we struggled with that because they still lose them. And why do they lose them? They need both hands to do their assembly installs. So they set them down. Have you ever been at home? Who's lost their phone at home? Everybody has. You lost your tablet even. It's bigger, you still lose it. But when you go on a walk, let's say you go on a long walk for an hour and you bring your phone with, do you ever lose it when you're on the walk? No, you put it in your pocket, you wear it. You take it out, you look at it, you put it right back, it's on you, it's there. We can't fit tablets in their pockets, so that didn't really work too well, and the phone was just too small to see and pick up, and it's too hard to interact with. I got to touch the screen, and I saw this. So we thought, hey, you know what? That's a big work cell. We'll just have this mobile computer cart that they can have there. Well, that's great. You saw those lines there? As they're walking around, they're just dragging this thing around like an IV they have at the hospital. They're just dragging the cart around with them everywhere they go. And so every one of those green lines that was up here earlier would have to have a red one with it. I'd have to pull the cart over here to do some work. Then I have to grab my tools and now move my cart back over here and tap it and touch it. And it was a disaster. Printed instructions, I threw that out there for comic relief. That wasn't going to happen. They'd be a lot thicker than this stock image from a Google search. So we resonated with this wearable device. Wade Weens here, he's wearing Google Glass, doing assembly work. It worked because it got rid of all of our problems we've had. I don't have a sports bar of TV. I don't drop it. I don't lose it. It doesn't break. I don't have to drag it with me. It's part of me. Seemed to take care of all the issues I ever had. So then we get this slide here. We're right here when we're doing this work. So I'm going to back up all the way to 2013. I had to double check my notes here on the 2013 because I couldn't believe that was the date, but it is. We had a problem with inspection. Drop tablets was the analysis on that one as well. So we ordered and got a pair of Explorer Edition glass, brought it into the factory, wanted to try it out, cool thing, we put it on, get a Google account set up and download glassware apps all over the place, and thought this thing was cool, and we thought, well, how do I do? I need to use this for inspection. I need to have an app created. There's no apps that walk me through step-by-step checklists. So we found a company called Proceedix. Actually, it was Ignition at the time. We partnered with them. Wearable, it's a digital work instruction, paperless work instruction. They had a Android app out there already, and they started customizing that and getting it to work on this Explorer Edition glass. And we tried it for inspections. Well, not quite. We walked out to the assembly floor, and if you do work in the United States on the assembly floor, you have this big sign at the door that says, hey, safety glasses required behind this split beyond this, and those don't have safety glasses in them. So we had a company called 3M, conveniently enough, located in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, 3-hour drive. They came down, they looked at the 6 or 8 pair of these we had, they made a shield that went to it and actually bolted to it. It looked really dorky, but it worked. So we went out and we worked with that trial, and it seemed to work. The app was working good. It was still in the infancy stage, but it worked. So we thought this is a good idea. Let's do this more. We had struggle getting more glass. I'm not sure how we contacted Google, but it happened. They came on site, and showed us a glimpse of the Enterprise Edition back in 2014. And so we bought some, a lot of them. We actually had Google meet with us, 3M and Proceedix, because we then realized that this version of glass needed the safety shield. I believe it was us that had 3M sit in the room with Google and get this shield created. And we also ran into the issue of we have prescription glass users. People have prescriptions. We needed that in the safety shield. So 3M also partnered with Google and created that. So there's an option of safety shields and everything on it. So now we're ready to go big. We looked at Augmate, ended up landing with AirWatch as an MDM provider, just a mobile device manager, so we could push updates on the apps and all that stuff. And after that, we had this big trial period of work instructions. The app got better. Lots of stuff happened in here. I just didn't put flags for it all. And then we have this announcement of the X group company team announced Google Glass, or a Glass Enterprise Edition, and that's Dane. He became famous. I think if you still search it, his picture is up there as one of the big hits. Surprisingly, he got a lot of heck for that, but he's a good guy. So that's our journey. A little bit about the Proceedix app. What allowed us a big success again is the way we went about it. We had a problem. We didn't force this down the assembler's throat. In fact, if I'm gonna show a video here next, and what you're gonna see is this is what Dave, who's wearing this is what he sees. He's gonna be putting bolts in this bracket here shortly. He sees this drawing. Now, we took our existing information. We didn't create this digital media. We already knew what they wanted. They told us, the assemblers told us what they wanted to see. They wanted to see an image and a bill of material, and that's over here, just a swipe away. The reason for this black space was the canvas shape. 5 years ago when manufacturing engineering created this drawing, or in the last 2 years when they did, it was the more of square monitors and the current MES system we have. They like this shape. We're not gonna change what we have. Proceedix was great. They allow us to zoom in on this 4 times. And we just pan our head around and we can see the image, we can freeze it, and everything. And you're gonna see he's gonna use voice, or here he's gonna use a voice command to control glass, or they can use tap gesture. So let's move with this. Oh, that'll work perfect. It goes to standby. There's no reason for Dave to see this the entire time. If he needs to look, if he needs the information, oh, you can't quite hear it. He said, "Okay, glass, proceed." Todd, same thing. He's putting some bracket over the drive shaft. Tells him what parts to do. He knows what they are, so he didn't need to look at the bill of material. He's going to get fancy here in a little bit and try to touch with the backside of his finger and fail miserably at it. But again, I don't want to have this image in front of him if he doesn't need it. And that's just his next step. And I'm going to pan out of here and we're going to go to Wade. Putting some hoses on. I think he's working on just the hose clamps right now, putting these clips on. Or actually he's up here putting those bolts in. He too's been here a while, so this is more or less just a trigger. I think someone else talked earlier about if I need to actually show how the bolt goes in with some cool automation. I don't. If he doesn't know how to install a bolt and twist it and how to put the wrench on it, he shouldn't be at AGCO. There's nothing. Now, Heather here is fairly new at this. So actually you're going to see her mark the torque on everything so we can have somebody inspect to make sure she did the torque values and torqued it right. But this is what she's seeing. Just put all these things in here and go around. Again, there she is marking them. Now she's going to use touch gesture. So you actually see a quick glimpse of the bill of material that she looked at a little bit ago. It flies by and she taps and proceeds. Done. This is her next thing. She immediately swiped off her next image because she cares about this right here and this right here. Which parts, how many, and now she has them in her hand. She's going to say it goes here. This end is here. She didn't reverse it or anything like that. And she's going to proceed to do her install. Steve, you saw him at the very beginning. That was his picture. This is an interesting one. He's made a defect on this. 2 of these bolts or these fittings have the same head size, but different torque values. And so he would mix them up and not torque it right. So he'd have one where it would almost twist off and the other one where it would leak. So now he has the instructions right where he needs it, and he's got the different torque values right there. And you're going to see he's done now. So that was the last thing he needed to do. He's just going to finish the app. There's other features like hold and everything else. So you don't just walk through the process. You can place it on hold. If you're done for the day or you need to stop during the install, hold it, leave. Someone else comes into that workstation, they can pick up right where you left off. So it's not like, yeah, he was nervous, right where you left off. Jake, same thing. It's just the same thing over and over, just different views. He had to torque that to a certain value, and there's his next step. Buck, I don't actually know his real name. I think it's Tony or something, but everybody calls him Buck. He's done now as well. That was the last build. This tractor actually is the one that was the CAD view from top down that we saw. That's the other person in the work cell. So I mean, these things are big. He was actually up under the hood standing there a little bit ago. So I'm just trying to show a little bit of the view of what he did. So that's kind of our result. And the neat thing about the app is we created those steps. We went as far as either we could have created it in the Proceedix tool or we could have integrated it with our MES system. And right now we're doing integration with our MES system where we send Proceedix a JSON file and he uploads it and boom, there's your work instruction steps. Because it's all the information that was up here, the torque values, the bill of materials, the pictures, they're all stored in different data points in our ERP system or MES system. So it's just used to show it. For quality inspection purposes, we use the Proceedix app solely. So it's instead of having some Excel check sheet, we took all those steps, we loaded a card in the Proceedix web tool to get that done. So you can be fully integrated or you can just use the Proceedix app to show what you want. So before I get for questions, I have a question for you. What problem are you going to solve using any type of augmented tool? All right.
Thank you, Rick.